This is Jim with Garage Store, and today we're going to redo the floor in an automotive center. It just so happens to be Dynamic BMW, and this project has an old flooring system. So we're gonna get in there with our big machines, grind off that system, and get down to the bare concrete, and then apply our system. So let's go check it out. All right, here we are back on the commercial project here at Dynamic. Last night was a long night. We had to remove the coatings, we had to grind the concrete, we had to go back over the concrete, fill any imperfections, the cracks. We also had a lot of work to do with the apron. As we were grinding the front apron by the overhead door, the concrete was brittle, it was falling apart. It was in the client's best interest for us to remove it all and trowel and fill it in. So we had to resurface the whole front apron. We put down a moisture mitigation primer across the entire floor. This primer is what helps lock up the concrete and prevents vapor transmission coming up through the floor. So now we're back the next day. What we're gonna have to do is touch up the floor, with any kind of fillers or paste that we need to. It's all commercial grade epoxy polymers. And then we're gonna apply the base coat, the flake system, and then our top coat, which will happen later this afternoon. But let's see the job and check it out. So here we are back on the job, and you can see this front apron has what we consider or call a polymer trowel system. After all the brittle concrete was removed, we had to prime it, we had to fill it in with the sand trowel, and this basically is stronger than concrete, but allows us to prep the front apron and then coat it. So this whole job last night, after removing the coating and prepping the concrete, we had to go back and fill in all the imperfections, all the divots, all the cracks. The reason we do this is when we apply the base coat, we want it to be nice and even. So the flake system is nice and even. So we had to fill everything in, all the imperfections, and then put down this moisture mitigation primer, which we put down at about 20 mils. So it's a pretty thick layer. And there's a reason for that, because you want it to soak into the concrete and lock up the concrete. So now we're ready to apply the base coat and the flake system, which will probably take a good hour and a half to 2 hours with this size project. So we have Valentin over here on the squeegee. The squeegee is very important because he's the one distributing evenly the base coat. And he knows from his experience just how hard to push that squeegee and put down a certain millage of the base coat. And this is important because you want the base coat distributed evenly across the floor. Then you have Roy in the back there with the roller. His job is to back roll and cross roll the base coat because, again, it coats the floor evenly, fills in any imperfections, and make sure the floor sort of self-levels. All right, so here we are finishing the final prep of this apron. We put down this polymer trowel, but we have to fill it with a polymer paste. That helps seal and lock it in because it's kind of porous. So as you can see, Chris is over here just filling and troweling everything in, making sure it's solid before we put down the base coat. All right, here we are inside with Roy, and we're broadcasting the flake system. So you can see the gray base coat is already down, and we're broadcasting this flake system. Now this flake system is 100% broadcast, complete coverage, and he's gotta be careful to make sure it's even, and then go back and see if there's any spots that might need a little bit more. We're back and we got the second phase done. We got the base coat down. That was that gray polymer coat that we put down. We broadcasted the flake system. Now, when you broadcast a flake system, you want to broadcast 100%. That means you want to broadcast to rejection. So if you come down here by the floor, you can see there's a lot of loose flake. You want that in a flake system because this way it creates a nice thick media and helps with compression and durability of the floor. So we're gonna let this cure. We're gonna come back, scrape off the excess flake, and put a clear top coat on. We'll see you in a little bit. So here we are in the final stage of the process, and that's applying the clear coat. The clear coat's very important because that's what's going to seal the flake and protect the floor. So we got the guys back here cutting it around the drains. We got Roy back there, back rolling, making sure that everything's filled in around the flakes. And we're also going to apply what's called aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is really important because it gives the floor texture. So with this top coat that we're applying, it's a commercial grade polymer that is very stain resistant, impact resistant. It's great for a shop environment. It's also UV resistant because, you know, as the windows are open or doors are open, the overhead door, there's always sunlight. So you want a top coat that can, you know, be durable and scratch resistant, and also take the impacts of like auto parts and car parts falling on the floor. Now that you've seen the process and you've seen these guys work, I want to point out that it's not so much the material, it's the talent and the craftsmanship of doing this work. And a lot of my clients and customers say, oh, well, what's the difference between a garage and an automotive shop like this? There isn't. For us, we use the same commercial grade material, whether we're in a garage, basement, warehouse, automotive center. We might use different products that have solvent levels, but at the end of the day, it's all commercial grade product that's very durable and, you know, can last a long time.
Oh man.
How you doing?
All right, I'm ready for this.
Excited.
Oh, hi. Okay, let's do it.
I'm sure you remember your apron, how bad it was. We literally had to bust out about 2 feet back and about a foot wide and then rebuild it all. So if you feel it, feel the texture.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna say, oh, so it's really rough. But if
No, I love it.
you look at your hand, you might see a little bit of aluminum oxide.
Yeah.
You want the texture because the texture will wear down.
All right, so I've looked at this floor for 14 years now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right?
It's never
So
looked
if you notice, there's
anywhere
little
close to this
texture,
good.
but not as much.
Yeah.
But I still wanted to make it aggressive.
Wow.
So the guys were washing a car over here or some parts, and they got the floor a little bit dirty. But if you come back here where they haven't worked on anything yet,
Yeah.
now you have a shop here where you can show off all your cars and what you're working
Baby. Oh, that's so nice.
on, right?
It's the spot. I love it. Looks great. Well done, man.